Hello, and welcome to Triggered Care. I'm Alex. Today I'm going to be going into why help feels awful sometimes. So let us get into it. What I'm talking about, and I brought this up in the Discord server, and I had some really good feedback and stories from other survivors about this. I'm just going to share a couple of my stories about this and then talk about why I think it happens. So, what am I talking about when I'm talking about help? That's very vague. I'm talking about when you first start sharing your stories, your traumas, and when it first happens, you're not purposely trying to share your stories. It's almost like it's an accident where you catch yourself and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that based on somebody's reaction to it because you didn't expect them to be sad about it. You didn't expect an empathetic response. And then when you get it, it is very uncomfortable and you want to push that away. One of my first times of dealing with this, I was a freshman in high school, 14 years old. This is directly after I was groomed by men online to make child pornography. And I hadn't been out of it for that long. I had a boyfriend, a very sweet boyfriend, who was around my age, who went to the same school that I did, because by that time I was going to public high school. And I started talking to him about my experiences of older men grooming me for me to make pornography for them. And I didn't say it direct like that. I think I said something along the lines of like, oh, I used to strip for older men or something like that. And his response to it was shock along with, a tinge of horror of that's not right. That shouldn't have happened. Are you okay? And that made me shrink up and kind of try to laugh it off. Like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, you don't need to worry about me. And that was just interesting. It made me feel awful in a way for him to respond like that to it. I don't know what sort of response I was necessarily expecting. Probably indifference, since that's what I was used to expecting. And then it clicked in a way for me where I'm like, okay, I just won't talk about this anymore because it causes too many emotions. I can't handle that. I can't deal with that. And that was my own repression speaking up of, you need to keep this buried or else it's gonna hurt. And then the next year I was in a creative writing class. So I was a sophomore in high school, and the assignment was to write about the most significant moment in your life and how it affected you, pretty much. And at that point, the only thing that I could really remember was the beatings, because that's the easiest stuff for me to remember, apparently. So I wrote about being beat to the ground, one of the last times that I was ever beat, which I talk about that in my Getting Beat video, if you want to go back and listen to that. It was the one where she beat me to the ground because I didn't let my sister into my room or whatever. And so I wrote about that because I was being honest. And even while I was writing it, I knew that this might come back and bite me in the butt. But I also didn't know what else to write about, because it's like, well, I guess that moment where I stood up to my mother for the first time would be my most significant moment in my life up to that point. And of course I hand it in, and of course after the teacher reads it, she keeps me after class to talk to me about it. And even though I knew that was a possibility, it still terrified me. She asked about my home life, what's going on at home, and I reassured her everything is okay. Oh, it's better now. It's better now. Because at that point, my mother hadn't beaten me with a belt for a number of years. I guess like 3 years or something like that. So I'm like, that's all in the past. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. And then after that, I kind of decided for a long time that I would keep my stories to myself because of how uncomfortable they made me and how uncomfortable I felt like it made other people. You know, it was like you were burdening them with your life, and that's a very big no-no in survival. You do not make a fuss. You do not make yourself known or your problems known, or else it can turn into bad things when you live with someone who does not accept that. And that terrible feeling, the combination of horror and wanting to disappear and anger and like confusion to like why do you care so much? Why do you care so much about my stories that my own mother doesn't care about, that my own caretakers don't really care about, and my caretakers would consider this nothing. This isn't pain. I don't know why you're thinking it's pain, but obviously you're wrong. And another part of that is just believing that you're not really human. You're not deserving of human emotion or empathy like other people are, because that's always been your status. You know, it's a part of our foundational thinking being challenged. One of the first things that you learn in an abusive household is you are not worth as much as any of the other family members, especially not your parents. And if you're the scapegoat, not even as much as your sisters or your brothers. You are the family scapegoat. You're there to be emotionally abused, physically abused, and your pain doesn't really matter because you're not like other people in some way. So it's like trying to unbrainwash yourself from a cult where the core belief is you are worth nothing, less than nothing, and you better not forget it. And for when people challenge this, when you're talking to people and they go, whoa, that's really sad. Are you okay? That makes all the red flags in your cultish brain to go up and be like, oh, they don't understand. They don't get it. You better cut this off, before you go into the danger zone of thinking that you deserve feelings and you deserve emotions and you deserve to process what you've been through. And it will cause us to shut out those who care, especially early on, before you get into recovery, before you even know that you have to recover from anything. It will make you kind of push those people away because you don't like that feeling. You don't like feeling like somebody's feeling bad for you. You don't like that feeling of all that repressed emotion bubbling up because somebody is validating it. Because when that first happens, it's really scary and you don't know how to respond. And anyone doesn't want to cry in front of somebody else. That's just a natural. You don't want to be vulnerable in front of somebody else. And so them forcing you into that vulnerable spot will almost make you angry at them in the way. Like, mind your own damn business. This is my stuff. I know what I have to deal with. I've had to do this forever. Don't you dare try to tell me that hurt me when I have successfully repressed it and all this stuff. Yeah, so that's sort of why it happens. Feeling awful. Another part of it, like somebody mentioned in the support group, is just trust issues. There's times where abusive parents will go through honeymoon stages with their children of treating them really nice for a little while. but then that usually ends in a big blowout or a big rage out. And so that's a warning sign for you. Oh, this person's being nice to me. I don't know if I can trust it. I don't think I can trust it, because every time I've trusted my role model, my parent, my caregiver in the past, when they were being nice to me, it was followed up by more abuse. So yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings on that. I actually got the idea for this reading Native Son by Richard Wright again. I mentioned this in my movie and books video that I made a while ago. But reading through that, it made me think of that, because the main character in that kind of struggles with that same thing where somebody's being nice to him and he hates it. It makes him hate the other people for trying to be nice to him. And it made me relate on my own life in a way of like, I can relate to that. I can relate to somebody being nice to me and me feeling like it's unnatural and wrong. And, that's a really hard spot to get out of, because the brainwashing is so strong in abusive families that it comes so natural to just be like, I'm not worth anything. I'm worth less than nothing. And my experiences aren't that big of a deal, because they were never validated throughout your childhood. They were never validated through a healthy way. You were never able to express that emotion. So if somebody validates you, even for a second, it's going to be like a whirlwind of repressed emotions starting to flitter up, and that's going to make your survival brain go, heck no, we're not going through that right now, because it's still traumatized. It's still trying to repress the trauma. It's still trying to make everything okay by saying it's not there. You're still in that denial stage of, what happened to me matters and I matter. Getting to that point of recovery is a huge step. So it takes a while, and it gets better with time. It definitely gets better with time. It gets better with support groups, especially because it's less intimidating to hear someone go, I've been through the same, and I'm so sorry you went through that. That sounds horrible. Because then you know that they have a similar experience, and it's not so much somebody without the experience just looking at you horrified, because then it's almost like your brain mimics that horror, and then you go, oh no, let's not go back to that place. Please don't take me back to that place. So those are my thoughts on that. If you have any video suggestions, if you have a story you want me to share, if you just want to say hi, comments are down below. Email is linked below, along with the Discords. Come join us over there. We have really good conversations. We're still doing the mood tracker for weekly, and you're welcome to join that as well. And yeah, I hope y'all had a good winter break, and I hope everyone's New Year's goes well. Have a good one.